Hello everybody and welcome to the War Room. This one is for the one on Prime Video for main event. For the welterweight title, the defending champion Kiamrian Abbasov taking on the lightweight champion Christian Lee. Okay, this is a really fascinating one to break down. It's difficult to know what to expect because of course they're different weight classes. They have got very different fighting styles. But the kind of fighting styles where you know they're going to clash in several different ranges. Now, of course, Christian Lee is an aggressive fighter. He likes to start fast, calculated, not reckless, but he is very aggressive and he puts pressure on his opponent straight away. But then on the other side, Abbasov, being the welterweight champion, he's going to be slightly bigger, slightly stronger. And as soon as you close him down and he gets that body lock, that's where his Greco-Roman wrestling comes into play. Now, Christian Lee, of course, is coming off that very impressive recovery of his belt against Yoon in the rematch. He looked physically very strong. He looked very imposing. He looked like he was there to make a point. He looked like he was there to leave nobody with any doubt that he's the lightweight champion, and he absolutely did that. Now stepping up to take on Abbasov, it just shows you his motivation to achieve and his determination. He must feel like he's in a very strong place physically and technically at the moment to want to go up and challenge the welterweight champion. Now Abbasov is coming off that loss to Renier Derrida, but of course, Derrida, the champion of middleweight, he is a big, strong, talented grappler who was just a bit too much for Abbasov. Even though Abbasov put up a really fantastic performance, managed to make it into the third round before getting submitted. Derrida was just a bit too much for him. But then you think, Abbasov stands at 6'2". You've got Derrida standing at 6'4". Now Abbasov moving back down to welterweight, he's going to be meeting Christian Lee, who is 5'10". He's the lightweight champion. So although Derrida may have seemed like a very big opponent, he's going to definitely put Christian Lee into perspective, and it's going to make him confident that he's going to be the bully in this fight, the big, strong, physical athlete. But then, of course, Christian Lee, he's very, very quick. And I do feel like he's grown into his body in the last couple of years. And I feel like now he's in that state physically where he can compete with strong fighters, big, strong, powerful fighters like Abbasov, like Yoon, as we saw. So quick tail of the tape. As I said, Christian Lee is 5'10", Kiamrian Abbasov 6'2", so he's a decent height advantage. He also has the experience advantage, Abbasov with a record of 23-5, Christian Lee with a record of 16-4. Interestingly though, even though the experience is on the side of Abbasov, they both have 11 TKOs and 4 submissions on their record. Abbasov, 3 guillotines and a rear naked choke. Christian Lee, Kimura, Anaconda, armbar and a guillotine. Very dynamic with his submissions as well as his striking, Christian Lee. Abbasov is much more walk you down, hit you with very, very smartly placed punches and kicks, do damage, and then as soon as you close him down because you can't take his power anymore, then you're into his Greco game and he's just throwing you around, manhandling people. Very physically dominant when he gets a body lock on someone. And that's going to be a big question for me in this fight is can he control Christian Lee? What happens if Christian Lee is too aggressive and he closes himself down and gets body locked? Can he get back up off the floor if Abbasov takes him down? I expect those scrambles to be chaotic because Christian Lee is not going to accept being taken down and held down. He's going to threaten with all different kinds of submissions. And Abbasov does have submission losses on his record. Of his 5 losses, 4 have been submission losses. So that would give me confidence if I was Lee coming into this one. Okay, let's get into some fight footage. So I want to start with Christian Lee's last fight. It's the most up-to-date version of him that we've got, and for me, it was his best performance. And not only have we seen him fill out physically, he's got more muscle mass on his frame now, but I would also say that he's maintained his speed, which means that he's now just as quick as he was when he was younger, but now he carries more weight behind those punches, which, he's always been a bit of a power puncher anyway. I mean, 11 TKOs out of 16 wins. I just think he's going to grow into that frame even more and be even more dangerous. And this version of him at welterweight might be the most powerful yet. So look at the speed of this jab against Oak. Because, I mean, Oak's a very dangerous individual, very good counter-puncher, but you can just see the speed of that jab. It pierces through Oak's guard twice there. And even though Oak tries to counter it, he's just not quick enough to catch Christian Lee. Here's the jab again. Bang, right on the chin. And he keeps chopping into the leg as well. He'll force his opponent to step, and he'll keep working into that lead leg. Beautiful front kick to the midsection as well. And I mean, there's that chop, and we have to keep an eye out for his check high kick, his check left hook. But a lot of his combinations flow off these powerful kicks. It's a good way of him taking control of the circle, especially if the fight's occupying the center of the space. He'll throw a powerful kick to move his opponent back up against the fence, and then his combination will flow from there. And you can see this kick, this right high kick, as he throws it, catches Oak right at the side of the head. Knocks him off balance for a moment, gains a bit of canvas space for Christian Lee, and then straight away, before his foot even lands back on the canvas, he's already making his way to his opponent with a long left hook and then a right hand that lands on the chin. Like this aggression, this speed that Christian Lee attacks with. It's not only is it fast, but it's overwhelming for his opponents because there's a variety of different shots coming from different directions. You know he's got power in both hands, and if you drop your head, he's going to start wrapping your neck up. So it's a multitude of different things that you have to consider, whilst at the same time you're under attack and you're backing up and you're running out of space. and unfortunately for Oak in this rematch, he wasn't able to keep control of the center. He found himself backed up against the fence the majority of the time, getting countered with this right hand over the top. And this was all started from this check hook. We actually saw it earlier on in the fight. Let me see if I can. There it is. Now, this shot, I rolled past it earlier, but you can see as Oak steps forward, the counter hook just whistles over the top of his head. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because the next time Christian Lee throws it, he's adapted the height of it to catch him right at the side of the head. And it's enough to stifle his attack. It's enough to slow him down for a moment. Look how much lower that is. Look how Christian Lee lowers his level. So he catches Oak at the side of the face. And then before Oak's able to recover, Christian Lee's right back on the back foot, waiting for him. Counter over the top with the right hand. And this is Oak throwing a jab out towards Christian Lee's face to try and keep him off for a moment. But this is, again, where the speed advantage comes into play. It's not only your first strike that's faster, it's also your counter striking. Everyone's brain can work a particular speed, but if your body's not keeping up, which is where Christian Lee's advantage is, if your body's not able to fire that quickly, you're not going to be able to capitalize on those moments. Watch this hand of Oak fly out and come over the shoulder of Christian Lee. And Christian Lee's going to throw his right hand. Let me just switch the colour so you can see a slight difference. Christian Lee's hand is going to come over the top and land on the side of the head as his opponent's moving forward. The benefit of this, of course, is, well, first of all, you know that they're coming at you, so you know they're not going to be moving away from your punch. It also means that you can commit fully to that shot because you've already got your head off the center line away from their primary attack, which is the jab. Look how the jab goes over the shoulder and the right hand of Christian Lee comes up and lands on the side of the face of Oak. Right hand buckles him, left hook and right hand, again, speed. I mean, this whole combination from the check hook, let me watch it slowly. Check hook, Oak steps back into range, postures to throw his jab, countered over the jab, left hook, right hand, and then he's down. And this is a dangerous spot to be against Christian Lee as well, because of course he doesn't attack the neck in this one, but he is certainly there to threaten it. He's got really, really good head and arm attacks, anacondas and guillotines, and a variety of different things, which they're always a little bit customized. That's why I like his submissions. They never fall perfectly into place like a jiu-jitsu playbook. They're always a little bit, I've got to control the body in this way, I've got to tweak them and twist them in this way. And he has the mechanical understanding to be able to do this. So this is a very dangerous position to be against Christian Lee. But dangerous with the neck attacks, also dangerous with the knees, which is what we see here. Really good knees to the head, while his opponent's still not quite recovered from those shots as Oak's getting back to his feet. And, there's the high kick again, as we talked about. Start the combination with the high kick. You can see Oaks move. Oh, wrong colour. Let me switch back to there we go. Freestyle pen. You can see Oaks moving this way. So he's moving on to this kick. This is exactly how Christian Lee's choosing these weapons. He's choosing the weapon that the opponent's moving towards because it's going to have the most impact. Catches him at the side of the hand there. And Oaks got his guard up. I mean, this is good defense. But as I say, you cover the first thing and you're not ready for the next thing that comes, which is that right hand over the top again. So heavy as well, it knocks him off balance, knocks him along the side of the fence. Big shot. And then he runs him down again. Something else I will point out about both of these fighters as well. This goes for Abbasov as well as Christian Lee. They're very good at reading where their opponent's going when they're hurt and staying in advantageous positions, staying on the side to hit them, staying around their back to control them. They've both got that instinct. It's going to be interesting to see which one of these wins that battle because they can't both win that battle. And the one that does is most likely the one that wins the fight. Here he is again, look. Very dangerous position to be in, not only with this knee that's coming directly to the head, but also the fact that he's got one arm over and one arm around. So he's got that head and arm control already that can be utilized in a variety of different ways. Darcers, anacondas, Joe guillotines, regular guillotines, arming guillotines, no arm guillotines. The Peruvian necktie, we know he's got one of those in his arsenal as well. He didn't quite land it, but he was very close. Very, very talented grappler. If he's got Abbasov hurt, if he's dazed him with the right hand, or he clips him with the left hook, or he hits him with the high kick and he goes down, dealing with this, once you landed, not exactly sure what's going on, not exactly sure where your opponent's attacking next, it's going to get to you. Something's going to get to you. And it's Christian Lee, it's a multiple pronged attack, which is what often gets through to his opponent. I mean, this for me was just a very impressive performance. Really, really good use of knees to the head as well, which we're seeing more and more in one championship. It's a really useful weapon up against the fence when someone's gone down and they're trying to get back to their feet. Of course, I think Christian Lee was trying to really prove a point in that fight. In other fights, he may have just jumped on the neck and attacked to try and get a submission, but that was a very powerful, aggressive performance by him. Now, if we look at the way that he fights compared to the way that Abbasov fights, we can get a rough idea of how this fight might play out. Now, I expect Christian Lee to be in and out of range, flurrying in behind his high kicks, crashing in with punches, but he can't be too reckless with that because if Abbasov gets those double underhooks, then he's got that Greco game to fall back upon, and that is incredibly problematic for Christian Lee. What he doesn't want is to have Abbasov wrapped around his waist for half of a round, picking him up and slamming him on his head over and over again, because I mean, not only is it exhausting to keep going through those different ranges and trying to gather your senses, but also, the impact will knock the wind out of you every time. I mean, these guys have both got slam knockouts on their records, and it wouldn't surprise me if the one that gets the body lock first is the one that's launching the other one in the air. And Abbasov, of course, is the one that's got the advantage there because, I mean, of course, he's Greco background, but also because he's most likely going to be the bigger, stronger fighter. Interesting exchange that will be. But I want to show you Abbasov's striking now because he's very calm, he's very mature, he's very precise with his striking, and because he's got the power in everything that he throws, when he places something correctly and it hurts somebody, it's the beginning of the end. And with Christian Lee, he's a 24-year-old guy with 20 fights on his record. If he sees someone's hurt, he goes flying at them and tries to get the finish. And because he's got so many things to throw at them, almost always he's able to find the finish. Abbasov is 29. He's got 28 fights on his record. He's a bit calmer. He's a bit more methodical. It doesn't make him any less dangerous, though, because in that moment where you're backing up, if he's hit you with the shot, he's not running at you with a volume of punches. He's walking you down and trying to predict where your head's going to be when you're trying to get out the way of his next attack. Now, this fight against Nakashima was a lot of fun to watch because it pushed him. Nakashima was coming in undefeated. Oh, look at that. Nakashima was coming in undefeated. Strong wrestler, strong grappler. Abbasov couldn't just walk him down and throw. He didn't really want to grapple with him too much. He wanted to stuff his takedowns and make him pay for every opportunity he got. And, even into the later rounds, Abbasov was able to keep this consistent pace, shutting Nakashima down and taking that undefeated record away from him. This is exactly what I'm talking about with placement of shots, because he reads where his opponent's going to be. Now, we've talked about Christian Lee slipping shots. That's a lovely slip. Look how he slips over that power shot from his southpaw opponent. So Nakashima's firing that left hand right at the head of his opponent. You'll see Abbasov drop down, but you'll also notice that not only has the hand gone over his head and he's underneath it, but he's also prepared this hand to come up the center and catch his opponent on the chin. Bang. And a really short, powerful shot. And the reason I like this is these are the massively underappreciated shots in close range, because generally they deliver a lot of power in a small pocket, in a short range. The reason why it's so powerful is because the way he resets his feet. Watch how he skips himself into range as he slips. See how he's resetting his feet. He hops forward, he replaces this front foot over here somewhere. And as he does that, he dips. So he's loading this so he can turn all of that squat power into an uppercut. There we go. Replaces the foot, slips up the center line, catches opponent right under the chin. Really nice punch. And he's dangerous at close range as well. This is where Christian Lee's got to be careful, because that chaos, although it can be very beneficial, sometimes you'll be working off instinct, and someone like Abbasov, with the experience that he's got, will be reading where your head's going. And if Christian Lee starts doing the same thing over and over again, he's going to find his opportunity to land something and intercept that movement. Again, this, and you can see it better from the other angle, but he knows full well that as he postures this kick, his opponent's going to level change. So as he starts to level change, he curls his knee into the center line. Instead of throwing it as a kick, which is what it looks like, which is going to be stifled by his opponent, switches it into a knee, catches him right under the chin, and then chases him down. And this is what I was talking about with the awareness of where his opponent is and positioning himself around them. Because as he flows around his opponent, he's able to strike and defend, keep himself safe, land good meaningful shots. And every time... Here we go. Every time his opponent's backtracking, and you can see Abbasov reaching, there's a moment where he catches himself. And then it turns into a stroll. And that's the scariest thing about it. Because he's gone from landing a really good knee, which you'll see from the other angle in a moment, is really nice. Catches him with a really good knee. Then catches him with a couple of uppercuts. Chases him down. But then watch how he catches himself and it turns into a stroll. Because he knows his opponent is most likely going to level change. As his opponent level changes and drops down here, he's going to bring this uppercut up to meet him. And he doesn't land it this time, but he does keep trying it. He tries it. He has 2 goes at it. There's the first uppercut that just misses. But look at the footwork. Look how he bounces himself out of range. I mean, that is like the Matrix. It's such a small adjustment, but it's the difference between getting taken down and resetting your attack so you can keep pressuring forward. There's the run to the jog again. Throws the kick, run to a walk, and then he knows again his opponent's going to level change, so he's preparing this uppercut to come up the center as he level changes. But this time, from the uppercut, he wraps the neck straight away. Again, the 2-pronged attack, just like we see with Christian Lee. Goes for the uppercut, comes up under his chin. You can see there. So his opponent's almost, again, got a takedown. He's around the back of both of his legs. But the strength of Abbasov drives him away. Then goes to attack his neck. And it's just a dominant finish, this is. Knee to the head. Kind of gets a little bit ahead of himself, but keeps his weight on his opponent, stays sat on them, and then pivots around. And this last uppercut is so meaningful. There are so many reasons why I like this uppercut. First of all, he's controlling the back of the head. Second of all, he knows where his opponent's head is. His opponent's head is... Oh, that's too big. His opponent's head is here. It's hidden behind his leg. So it would be quite easy for him to throw this punch and miss. It would be quite easy for him not to be able to reach his opponent's head because his leg's in the way. But what he's actually looking at is this pocket underneath his arm here. That's the pocket that he's going to punch into because he knows it's the best way to get to his head. Look at that. Still got the pressure down on the back of his head, so he's not going anywhere. And twists and moves his leg out of the way so that punch gets through. Incredible awareness in the pocket. You'll see it from the other angle in a minute. It's even more impressive because you can see how powerful the uppercut is. Lovely knee, perfectly timed. Then he just stays on his opponent. Couple of elbows here. He's going to land a really meaningful knee once he's broken that grip. See, that's what he was doing here. You can see his opponent's got two arms around this leg at the moment. That's linked together. That's a dangerous position for him to be in. So primarily, he's going to deal with his defense. He's hooking over the body and he's going to sprawl and kick this leg back to break that grip. Leg comes back, pries his opponent away, and then as soon as he feels that leg is safe, he's going to then turn it into a weapon, and it comes right at the center line. Couple of uppercuts, chases him down into a stroll, misses the uppercut, chases him down, throws a kick into a stroll, uppercut, pries him off, threatens his neck, throws him to the floor, knee to the head, sits on his shoulders and then spins around, and look at that uppercut. Because you can see his opponent is holding on to his leg. He's trying to build upon that single. And Abbasov is driving down onto the top of his head to keep his posture broken, keep that curve in his spine. And he's coming underneath. And you're going to catch him right in the chin. You can see it twist his head. Really lovely placement of a shot. And this is what makes it even more intriguing for me, is because both of these guys, I feel, have got the power to hurt each other. They've both got the power to be able to get to each other's back, or to get a body lock, or to create some kind of chaotic scramble. If one of these guys gets hurt or they start to become tired, the finishing capabilities of both of them make it very difficult for them to get out of that round without getting finished. I think both these guys have got the capability of finishing one another. For me, Christian Lee is going to be more aggressive in the early start. He's going to be trying to land powerful shots, and I think Abbasov is going to try and slow the fight down and drag it into those later rounds. Because Christian Lee's 0-2 over 5 rounds. He's not had success over 25 minutes yet. Abbasov is 1-0 over 5 rounds, so not a lot of experience at 25 minutes, but certainly enough to give him confidence that if the fight goes later, and this is where his size and his weight will come into play as well. I would imagine he's going to be trying to play the long game a little bit more, and this is again where his Greco comes into play. I mean, if we look at his fight against Tani, started very aggressively. Within the first 20 seconds, he's already ran into his opponent's body lock. And I don't really think that Tani wanted to clinch him straight away, but he was just taking shots. And when you've got Greco like Abbasov, it doesn't really matter if someone gets a body lock, because they can't really do a great deal with it anyway. I mean, look how strong he is in this position. Drops his body weight, muscles his opponent over to one side, and then starts to fight his hands inside as Tani level changes. And this is the exact shot I was thinking about when I was talking about his strength, his physicality. Like, you can see the muscle straining in this individual. You've got to think he's had a lifetime of Greco-Roman wrestling, which is all upper body controlling and manipulating. If he gets a hold of Christian Lee, I would imagine he's going to be able to move him around. I wonder, though, if the scrappiness and the scrambling ability of Christian Lee will get it into the later rounds where Abbasov has in fact tired himself out trying to keep control of this fight. Lovely takedown defense here, though. Pries his opponent up, gets the body lock, and then this is where it begins. And straight away, you can tell his opponent's concerned because he drops his weight straight away. He's hanging like a dead weight, so he's a lot more effort to move around. But I mean, Abbasov just didn't really seem to struggle, and I think you'll count 6 takedowns or mat returns if you like. Just manhandles him though, and you can see the difference in the posture from Tani in the opening 30 seconds to the point when he gets a little bit of space to breathe, and he's just, and this is all in the space of a round, remember. Beautiful big takedown there. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Stays behind his opponent always. A great instinct of a wrestler. Still on his body here. Picks him up, slams him again. So, of course, Tani's, first of all, he's trying to recover, trying to figure out where his feet are, where the ground is. And then he's taking shots. Then he's got to think about defending his neck at the same time. With so many different things going on, with your world constantly literally being turned upside down or broken down, and you're taking these shots to the side of the head, at some point you just kind of like, you become, your central nervous system becomes fried. Like, you can't get a breath, you can't really start to think about recovering from this onslaught, and all this time Abbasov is doing exactly what he wants to do. This is his game, all over his opponent. This has been a minute now, and I mean, what's this, like five mat returns already? Lovely control, body lock control, chopping him with knees, working to the head, and then a little bit of a break. Now look at the posture of Tani at this point. I mean, exhausted. And then you've got Abbasov confident that he's just been able to throw his opponent around. He's looking at his opponent now, who's physically starting to look like he's struggling, even though, you're 2 minutes into a fight. And then Abbasov's striking starts to flow. And this smash elbow that he lands, it might be my favourite strike that I've seen him throw, to be honest. It really is lovely. So he's crashing forward. He can get a little bit reckless, but that's because he lands with power. But look at that elbow. I mean, of all the shots that you would throw from this position, most people would throw it straight. But the reason he throws the elbow is because he's got control of this wrist. You can see how he's not allowing his opponent to get away as quickly as he'd like to. He lets go of that wrist right at the point when he's moving in for the elbow. Bang. And I kind of get the impression as well, watching this a few times, I kind of get the impression that Tani was going to grab that hand, which is why the elbow got around. Because you can see him reaching for the hand. Makes contact with the hand, but unfortunately the elbow is the weapon. Catches him really cleanly on the forehead, knocks him off balance. Flow state grappling. Attacking, staying in strong positions, building frames, staying behind his opponent, utilizing those knees to the head really well. And then you body lock again and you're back in the same game. You're back in the same situation. Here we go again, another takedown. Circles, takes the back. Then you're coming down again. And it gets to the point when you just stop thinking about the end game of your opponent. You think you're just caught in this cycle. It feels like it's forever. And then the next thing, a hook comes in. Still, he's not thinking about the neck attack. Then the arm comes over. This is the point when he realizes that he's really under threat. And look how he just clamps onto that neck. Then drops his near side hook in and just drags him back. I mean, that is why the submission's called the Lion Killer, isn't it? When you're there, your opponent is incredibly vulnerable. You can just see the power in his body when he gets that arm locked around the neck, and he just drags him back away from the canvas. Very physically dominant fighter. Patient with his striking. If he lands, he's going to hurt. And when he lands and hurts, then he's going to chase you down. He's going to stay around you. He's going to grab your back and he's going to start picking you up and slamming you, picking you up and slamming you. And if at some point you look up, you're like hoping for look into the heavens for help, and he just jumps on that neck. This is where fatigue comes into play, because people make mistakes when they get tired. And 25 minutes is a long time to not make any mistakes. I'm going to show you a little bit now of Christian Lee. Now, because if this fight does hit the floor, and it can hit the floor in a multitude of different ways, I've talked about his left hook, so I'm going to show you that to start with. This was a lovely check left hook against Nastyukin. And this kind of reinforces what I was saying about both of these guys having a really good awareness of where their opponent is when they land. Watch this counter hook here. As Nastyukin comes in, throws that right hand, which falls short. Great defense, great movement by Christian Lee. Bang. Lovely left hook. right on the chin. Drops him on the spot, and you can see he was level changing for a takedown as well. Almost body tackles him, but then stays on his side. Now look what he's doing with his legs here. Straight away, he's hooked into the side of his opponent. So he's got some control over that near side leg. He's kneeling across the back of the Achilles of his opponent. You can see here. So he's pinning this leg to the floor, making it very, very difficult for Nastyukhin to move. He's got the body wrap on the far side, and then he's hitting him with shots, but staying on his side all the time. So no matter where Nastyukhin goes, he's under pressure from this side constantly. And the pinching, the clamping that Christian Lee uses with his legs is the main component of his neck attacks. A lot of the time is for him to reach with his legs and grab. You'll see his sister do this as well. Reach with her legs and grab and pull it into her body so she can finish neck attacks. Their lower body awareness is a big thing, and this is a really, really valuable asset to Christian Lee's game, because the reality is, you look at his upper body and it looks wild. It looks wild. You can see him talking all of his power into these shots. But it's not wild. It's incredibly powerful, and he's using the clamp that he's got on the body here and here. He's using that to drag his arm back into his opponent to generate more force. But he also knows that they can't go very far because he's got them controlled. Big, big, powerful shots. Look at this check hook here. I mean, perfect. Just lovely work. Catches him right on the chin. And you've got to think, if Abbasov decides that he's confident and he comes crashing forward and he runs onto that left hook, he might be face planting onto the canvas before he even realizes that he's been punched. And then, of course, that's when the submission game of Christian Lee comes in. Because not only is he very good at staying on the side of people and attacking them when they've been hurt with a shot, but he's also very good at cinching up submissions very, very quickly. You see, he tries the check hook here. This is Burrios. Comes crashing forward here. Bang, gets caught with the hook. Level changes into that head and arm wrap that we saw earlier. Circles himself away from the fence, but stays on that head and arm. And now starts to land a few knees. Knees to the head, knees to the body, even looks to see where the leg is so he can knee the leg as well. But then drops all of his weight down, drags his opponent to the floor because he knows he's got this lock up. And this is what I'm talking about with the grab with his legs. There it is. Look how he's triangled his legs together to control one of the legs of his opponent. And you can actually see, his opponent's face here. That's the first time I've noticed this position, where you can actually see the expression on his face. He's in a nasty position, all tangled up. Can't get any space away from his leg because Christian Lee's got it attached here, but he's also got a wrap around the upper body as well. Now, when we look at this from the other angle, you'll see where the pressure is. There's the snap down, rolls him over, and look how he bites on that leg as he goes. We're watching this leg here of his opponent, the left leg, as he rolls him over with this. So he's got like an anaconda position here. He's got that figure four wrap around his opponent. So he's got the head and arm already attached. Now what he needs to do is he needs to control the lower body so he can roll his opponent into like a shrimp position. And what that's going to do is it's going to force that forearm that's under his neck into his neck to cut off his air supply. You can see the control of the leg. Now, as his opponent drops to the side, that's when you can see the compression. Because there's the leg here. We've got another leg here out, but then we've got the hips, and then the spine bends in that direction, and there's the head. And you've got to remember, in this position where he's all kind of curled up in on himself, there's also the forearm or the arm of Christian Lee, which is filling all of this space around here. So as his head gets curled into his body, there's a natural choking mechanism there. Look at that. Look at that control. Head, neck, spine, leg. I mean, if you're not flexible, that position alone is uncomfortable, let alone having someone with the figure four position around the neck as well. There's just no getting away from that. And this is his fight against Yukata, which was a bit more of him being aggressive with his takedowns. And I'm not saying that he's not going to do this. I wouldn't surprise me if we do see him grapple a little bit in this, especially if if Abbasov starts to land some painful shots. We might see Christian Lee decide he wants to create some scrambles and see if he can get to an advantageous position. And this is a really nice sequence here where, again, he stays on the back of his opponent, he keeps chipping at him and beating him up, but in the moment he's about to lose the position, he finds a guillotine, and it's a bit like a jokotine like Jack Hermansson uses, because he's kind of on a bulldog choke here, like a schoolyard headlock, as he falls off to the side, and his opponent's going to roll through. Christian Lee's going to stay on him. Now watch how he scrambles here. Slow it down. This is really great. Scramble, stays higher, stays above his opponent all the time. That hand on the back of the head is key. This hand right there is key because he knows where his opponent's head is there. As long as his opponent's head is underneath that hand, he can make sure that he's staying above it. Now, there's a lot of principles in martial arts, especially in grappling arts, that says that the higher man wins. Now, of course, there are lots of different skills that you can use if you're the bottom position as well. But in MMA, it's always preferable to be on top, I think we'd agree, unless you're an exceptional guard player. But even so, I would say that's the last string of your bow, and you want some striking and some offensive wrestling and some top game ground and pound and submissions first. You don't want to fall back upon the final hurdle of the sport, if you like. And I love the way that Christian Lee makes these decisions, stays on top, gets himself up, and then wraps the neck. And you can see when he wraps the neck, he goes all the way through. You can see how he's caught that far side tricep as well, because that sets up the figure four position that we know he's very, very good at. But he actually doesn't use that figure four in this position. He actually pulls the arm to the side. And as his opponent reaches for his leg, it unfortunately puts his arm in a position which makes the choke easier for Christian Lee to finish. See how he goes around the back of his leg? He's coming around this side. And this is why I say it's a lot like the jokotine, because he fires his knee across the center line and then sits and throws his other leg over. So his opponent, and now you can see his opponent's trying to start twisting out of it. And if you watch Jack Hermansson against Jacare, you'll see this. His opponent starts trying to twist out of it, and then Christian Lee switches and goes to like a rear naked choke body triangle position, which is a very, very awkward, unusual position for him to be in. But it works. I love the customization of submissions like this. It shows me that he's got a mechanical understanding of the submission. He's got a fundamental understanding of how this submission works with the human body, the physics of the submission. That is to me a martial artist that's got a good grasp of his art. And the reason why that is so dangerous is because if you're given a few pieces of a submission, a good martial artist, a good grappler will be able to take those few pieces and add the additional bits that they need. If you're stuck to textbook kind of submissions, when that textbook submission doesn't work, you'll either try and go on to the next one or you'll give up and you'll become discouraged. Christian Lee knows that he can find these submissions in awkward positions. If he's able to catch Abbasov and hurt him, if he's able to hit him with one of those high kicks and chase him down, buckle him, land a knee up against the fence, then he might be able to start attacking the neck. Christian Lee, it's about chaos, it's about dynamic attacks. Hit him with speed, hit him with ferocity, and then back up and move away, so you're not there for that gradual walk down and bang, 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 body lock, pick up and ragdoll. Abbasov could look like the much bigger, stronger fighter here, but we might see the best version of Christian Lee yet, because, he's allowing his body to grow. He's going to be a much more powerful fighter at welterweight. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with someone who we know is physical and powerful like Abbasov. What a great fight this is going to be. And what a great card. I'm going to do a breakdown of the Rodtang Lazary fight as well, which I'm also very much looking forward to. Please check that out. Watch this card. One on Prime Video 4. Christian Lee taking on Kiamrian Abbasov.